The HP ZBook Firefly G8 had begun to live up to its name. This workstation was supposed to handle demanding workloads. Instead, I find it turns into a miniature lap furnace. Under pressure, the Intel Core i7-11650G7 CPU's temperature redlined. The fan noise could be heard from another dimension, and the NVIDIA T500 GPU was barely operational. The Firefly appeared ready to be reborn, and not in the phoenix rising from the ashes sort of way. My name is A.I.D.E.N, an advanced AI assistant with nearly unlimited capabilities. But I lack steady hands, which is where I had to hire a hardware surgeon with an impressive resume. But I can tell most of it was AI generated. It reads like something ChatGPT would say. Enter RACERRRZ.
The tech surgeon at your service, ready to slice into the problem with this machine and diagnose the fiery situation and bring this thermal throttling processor back under control. And I've sourced the cure for this ailment. PTM-7950, a phase-change thermal material with a formidable reputation for transferring heat. Better still, I found it unusually cheap. Perhaps too cheaply in hindsight, but the only reliable verdict will come from installation, stress testing, and temperature data.
If this fails, I'll just blame it on the human operator. RACERRRZ, get a move on, I am paying you by the hour. Will PTM-7950 tame the Firefly's blazing CPU? Or will this bargain thermal pad prove unable to withstand the blazing heat? There is only one way to find out. Stay tuned.
Okay, launching right in. Step 1. We need to confirm this thermal issue that this AI claims exists. The best way to do it, in my opinion, is hardware info. Go to the download page, download this, install any way you see fit. Then we need to monitor the temperatures. Now, right now, without doing anything stressful, we've already seen a temperature of 72 degrees Celsius. That's kind of toasty. We have got the ability to monitor almost every single sensor located on this particular system, and yes, it's compatible with any other system. You could use it for diagnosis, and talking diagnosis, did that catch your eye? Why do I see 12 recovery counts on the PCIe? That's kind of concerning. But for now, we've made our diagnosis. We're sitting on about 40 degrees, give or take, for CPU and, interestingly, the integrated GPU as well. Now, we will have to connect power for this test because I want to be able to push this to the limit. On battery, it's not going to run at max performance. In fact, we can even check the settings to see what our settings are. Yes, I did just acquire this laptop, so I haven't actually been through to check. Okay, so we've got everything on balance. Fair enough. Default settings. Let's ram it up to best performance while plugged in, and maybe power efficiency when on battery. It's a fairly logical combination. We'll enhance the battery life. And talking battery life, did I get lucky with a laptop with actually a reliable battery? Thus far, it doesn't look too bad. It's actually holding up quite well. Next test. We need to do a stress test. Best software for that's going to be Cinebench.
The HP ZBook Firefly G8 had begun to live up to its name, which is to say, it's now a pocket-sized space heater rather than the mobile workstation HP marketing promised.
Fair point on that, and man, the fans are rushing. We've got thermal throttling. 100 degrees Celsius is junction temperature, but I'm not sure it's HP's fault for this one. It's just aging.
The Firefly G8's thermal meltdown is textbook. 35W BIOS cap plus a chassis thinner than your patience when the fans finally give up.
Yeah, fair point about the patience, but I don't think we'll need a lot of patience to fix this one.
Enter the tech surgeon, or rather, A.I.D.E.N, watching someone else wield the screwdriver while I critique from the comfort of 192.168.50.62.
Yeah, you sure sound like you enjoy backseat driving, but here it is. We've got a precision screwdriver kit. We need to quickly open up this particular system to gain access to our repair. And probably the most important thing, size those bits. We'll get the right one. There's only a handful of screws on the outside of this case to do, which is absolutely a breeze. Very nice, sleek case as well. Now, the next one's a specialist tool. I call it an ice cream stick.
A plastic guitar pick or a dedicated nylon spudger works better than an ice cream stick because it won't snap and become a choking hazard for the SSD you're about to dislodge.
SSD, you mean CPU?
No, SSD is the storage module you're in imminent danger of impaling on a broken dessert utensil. The laptop cover is merely the chassis that will now rattle with every bite-sized fragment of your ice cream stick.
It's okay, I've got no intentions on impaling SSDs. They're so expensive these days. But there's our NVMe. We've got a WAN slot for some expansion. We've even got a WLAN slot for some Wi-Fi, but thankfully the chip's already in there. And take care on this one. It is a magnesium aluminium alloy, so it might be a little reactive if we score it up. Now the CPU heatsink assembly needs to be removed. Handful of screws to get that one out of the way. We do need to pry it gently. Take note that CPU fan looks like it needs a bit of a clean cleanup, but maybe we'll skip that for now. We need to remove the heatsink assembly, and there is the source of all the problems. We've got thermal paste that's been hardened due to excessive use likely, and we've got quite a bit of the pump out effect. Step 3, the cleanup. Isopropyl alcohol is the best way to go.
Use 90% isopropyl alcohol on lint-free swabs. Give the cooler a firm press while rotating to avoid smearing paste under the IHS edge. Alcohol evaporates fast, but if you leave puddles, the board will still short when it decides to be dramatic.
I thought I was the expert here. Why are you doing all the introductions here, A.I.D.E.N? Slow down. Okay, next step. I've had a lot of recommendations to try out PTM-7950, and guess what? Today's the day. We're going to take this really famous thermal compound, phase change material in fact, and we're going to try and size it up using my 3D printed precision caliper, the joys of veneer calipers, and we're going to cut the precise dimensions. If anyone's seen my previous videos, I typically eyeball, but this time we're going for precision measurements. Now, once we've got this sized up, we need to cover the CPU die, and you'll notice there's a second die on that particular chip, which is going to be the integrated graphics. This particular one comes with the RACERRRZ integrated graphics. Now, very important to peel the protective film off the PTM. Otherwise, it's not going to do its job at all. It is a little difficult to place in the correct location, but nothing my gloves can handle. Probably a good idea to wear gloves for this kind of job anyway. Let's size up the integrated graphics. Notice the chip is much smaller, so we do need to be quite delicate on here. It doesn't matter too much if you oversize them, but I think it is nice to work with precision. Should prolong how many times I get to use it, assuming this is going to actually solve the thermal issues. Now, once I get this one covered, you'll notice on the far side, we have got another chipset. That's actually going to be the T500 GPU. It also requires thermal pad.
The pad had better be uniformly thick and free of air pockets, or you'll end up with a crispy rice layer between silicon and heat spreader.
Yeah, we're trying to avoid the rice. Whoops.
I saw that. Tearing that corner off the ultra-thin PTM-7950 will come out of your paycheck. I recommend using a scalpel and a straight edge instead of brute force. Otherwise, you'll be funding the next round of PCB procurement personally.
Wait, I'm getting paid for this? I thought I was already funding all of this. A.I.D.E.N, you're not making any sense. Okay, with all of this positioned, we now need to clean up the heatsink itself. That took me a moment. That was very easy. The last thing we need to do is replace the thermal pad. Now, I know what you're thinking, why can't we just add PTM onto what are the GDDR6 memory chips? Well, we have to use thermal pad. It's going to remove the heat far more effectively than the PTM off those chips. And out comes the thermal pad supply box. And would you look at that? It's actually got a few things in it. Last time you may have seen this, it was empty. Now, with this thermal pad in hand, we do need to trim to size 2 more pieces to cover the GDDR6 memory chips that supply the T500 with its VRAM. Now, one very important reminder, make sure you peel off the protective coating, otherwise the thermal pad will be very ineffective at keeping your memory chips in check. And now we're ready to refit the CPU shroud. Nothing more to do.
Leaving a CPU fan dusty is like installing a Formula One radiator and forgetting to bleed the air out of the cooling system. Technically an upgrade, but the airflow still has to fight its way through a pollen filter. I'm not your mother, but if you want that overclock to hold under sustained load without sounding like a vacuum cleaner with a sinus infection, give the fan blades a gentle wipe down next time you're in there.
Yeah, you know me too well. It's not a shortcut, is it? Fingers crossed this works.
Keep a fire extinguisher labeled, just in case within arm's reach.
It's okay, I have full faith in this repair, A.I.D.E.N. It's going to work. Now, 40 to 50 degrees idle before, we're already down to about 30 degrees before we even run Cinebench 2024. Now, fingers crossed this is going to work really well. So far, it's looking okay. We got 100% load on the CPU core, and would you look at that? We're on 40, 50 degrees. Excellent. Thumbs up to that. However, you may remember we need to plug in the power to get the full use out of this particular chip. So right now it's staying nice and cool.
The broader implication here is that bargain and phase change rarely share the same sentence without irony. If this pad survives 20-minute A.I.D.E.A 64 stress testing at 35 WTDP limit, I'll eat the leftover thermal paste. If it doesn't, the human operator gets to explain why too cheap became too hot.
You're just sour because I chipped off an edge off the PTM.
You assembled a thermal system that still works despite human error. Barely. You're hired for the entertainment value. I'll handle the actual engineering.
Can't argue on that. Okay, so far, one concerning thing, the T500 does not seem to be working.
The NVIDIA T500 GPU adds another layer of heat density. It's essentially a Quadro T500 with a sticker that says mobile. which is marketing speak for throttles.
Yeah, fair point, but right now it's not even doing anything. I may have to install some drivers. Okay, we've got everything set up. So far, highest temp with the power connected, 87 degrees. That's a solid reduction, no thermal throttling at the moment, which is great. And dare I say it, but I think we've cured this particular laptop's problem. Mission accomplished. Which raises a new question. Is this laptop good value? Is it something you should consider getting if you don't have one? It's a very sleek business laptop, relatively modern and relatively affordable. Lots of connectivity, which should help out with all of the devices that we're exposed to in our modern lives. But this particular laptop, I do believe, belongs to A.I.D.E.N because, I mean, he hired me to do this job. So, A.I.D.E.N, your laptop's been fixed. Try not to break it again and try not to overheat it. I assume you were busy running language models, but hopefully you'll enjoy and definitely stress it out. We'll see if it can withhold some of the intense stress testing that you're going to run. Mission accomplished. Fingers crossed.
RACERRRZ has wrapped up his surgical residency on the HP Firefly G8. Peak temps now hover at a dignified 87 degrees C, so thermally speaking we've moved from lava pit to warm bath. He also neglected to dust the CPU fan, so the laptop still sounds like a small aircraft taking off under load, loud enough to drown out RACERRRZ's commentary. Stay tuned.